Welcome to the Rising for Women podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Merlo-Booth, and I believe the world will be changed for women when we change how we walk in it. So each week, we're going to have hard conversations. We're going to explore new options. Some of them are going to be hard options, and we're going to have some real, straight talk. We're going to do that because I have faith that women can handle it. Everybody, welcome to the Rising Podcast for Women with your hosts, Lisa Merlo-Booth, Dee Marcotte, and Arlene Newman. We're psyched to have you with us today. And our topic today is women and who are conflict avoidant. Women who really do whatever they need to do to not rock the boat, not make waves, and to keep things in their life as non-confrontational and easygoing as possible. So let's jump in, you all. Do you see women like this in your practices?
Is there anyone I don't see?
Most of my practice is women, so yeah, I have to say I see very few that do not fit into that category. Absolutely, it's an epidemic.
Okay, wow. I'm so glad you just said that, because I think a lot of people are going to be fighting that. And I see that in my practice all the time. Dee, do you see that in your practice all the time?
Totally.
All the time.
All the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
I even see it with the younger women in their 20s. Right? You would think that they've been taught so different, and people are talking about, oh, you know, we have women's empowerment and women are showing up so different now. And I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. So that's interesting that you said that, Arlene, when you said it's like an epidemic. I think I would have to agree with that. In my practice, that's what I see, all ages. And I have kids who are in their 20s, and I'm watching it with them and their friends, and I'm like, what has we have not come nearly as far as we think. And if anything, I almost wonder if we're going backwards a little bit. It's odd. So okay, what are you seeing?
I mean, most of the time I hear, well, I've already said something. Nothing happens. So why bother? I mean, I think there's a lot of, I call it resignation. Like there's no, why do that? There's just no reason. Nothing happens. Nothing changes. I might as well just take it.
Yep. I also see, it's just, he's going to get more angry, or she's going to get more angry, or my friend, it's just going to hurt their feelings. Yep. So why should I do it? There's no real benefit to me of bringing this up.
It's mean.
Yes.
Bringing it up is mean.
Is mean.
No, I don't. I haven't even gotten to the part where they think it's mean. They just don't want to have to deal with what happens when they bring it up, whether their partner will intellectualize whatever the problem is and not deal with it, and they will feel like they don't have a way to come back. They'll start to believe what the partner is saying more than they are able to stick to what it is that they want. Mm-hmm. They get bullied or intimidated, and they shut down. They don't have, what I see, that they don't have a vision of what it looks like to really stick with something and get through the defensiveness, and that there is a way beyond what they know. Like they do a first step, it doesn't work, and then they give up.
Yeah. And some won't even do the first step.
I'm with the ones that actually do the first step, and then they go, what's the point?
Right. It didn't work.
It didn't work. This is what he does. This is what he always does. But it's not always he. It's just as prevalent in the gay relationships that I work with. Mm-hmm. not really knowing how to communicate about a difference.
Right. And feeling stuck, like, you know what, it's not going to help me anyway if I say something, they're not going to change, it's going to create something bigger, whatever. And then feeling like, "Ugh, I've got what I've got." And like, you know, oh well, this is, you know, my mom's generation, my mom used to say this all the time, you make your bed, you lie in it, right? That's the message she was taught. And so I now with women, it's like, oh, I said something, it didn't work, and now I'm more stressed that I even said it. Why did I even bother saying it? And I actually do hear women say it's mean. And I hear, like, I hear women who like are on the receiving end, if somebody giving them feedback, and the other person could have given them feedback really gracefully, like with a lot of compassion. And the women are like, that's mean. I can't believe she would say that to me. My friend said this to me, or she'll be like, oh, I think I should say this. And their other friend will be like, no, that's mean. Just let it be. So I see the mean as well. And it just seems like women have themselves in a straitjacket around, you know, what they can say, what they can't say, how they say it, how people are going to interact. And they don't want to, it's too hard for one. They don't want to be mean for the other. They want to be liked, another reason, right? And then, like you said, and if they do even dare to take that first step, if they're not met with something positive, that's it. That's where they stop. They don't know where to go from there.
What you were talking about, what it made me think of is like the women I get end up kind of getting this idea that, well, if I say it, then they should like the fact that I'm saying I don't like this, or I want that, or, you know, and that's part of that backing off kind of thing. It's like, well, look what happened. They got mad, or they this or they that. And I'm like, well, it's not about what they did. It's about how did you end up feeling?
Right. That's such a great point. It's a reminder, and this is so hard because we've all been raised like this, and sadly, unfortunately, girls are still being raised like this. We want to be liked. We don't want to be upset with
but
us.
I was just thinking about that. We want to be liked.
We want to be liked, and like it's like in our bones, right? And so saying something and having somebody else be upset is like, you know, and that's one of the moves that women have to make to get out of this. It can't be about, I need everybody happy with me. I need everybody happy, period. And even better, happy with me. I want everybody to like me, because man, there's so many things you can't say. There's so many ways you can't stand up for yourself. There's so much going on there. If that's our litmus test for how we are as a human being, we're in trouble. And it's really going to keep women in that one down position, because if you're always waiting and judging, you know, how are you doing based on if others like you or if they're happy with you, dear God, like we'll never get out of this.
We're in trouble. Or maybe that's what we should be talking. Maybe we should be talking about why is it so important that we feel like we'll do anything to be liked.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think we don't have enough self-confidence and self-esteem. And so we're still like little kids looking out there to be approved of.
Yeah.
We don't know how to validate ourselves enough.
Yeah. And it's hard because so many women don't have healthy self-esteem, and they're looking to others to get that healthy self-esteem, which means we can't take others on. We can't, right? And so
We need them too much.
we need them too much. So I often tell women and men, when you don't need a relationship, that's when you're in the position to have one. Right? That's a tough journey. That's a tough journey. Especially when you have moms and friends and, you know, oh, do you have a boyfriend? Do you have a girlfriend? Are you seeing somebody? How come you're not in a relationship? Oh, you don't want to be alone. Do you want to be alone? And even if you're fine with being alone, it's like, God, what's wrong with me? Like everybody keeps saying this stuff. So, okay, so we have all these, you know, it's very common for women to believe that conflict isn't, it's not going to benefit them. It's mean. Why do it? Don't stand up for yourself. You know, if you can take it and let it go, let it go. What's the big deal? Let's talk for a moment about why not? Like, why not just let things go? Why not just go along? Why not try to walk on eggshells, keep things calm, not make waves? What's wrong with that?
I think one of the things that I'm like, I think there's many things wrong with it, but and having been there in my other previous life, I totally understand.
Yeah, we all.
Yeah, but I think the idea of how resentful, if you are not really having the conflict, and you're not having the conflict when it's this big, rather than you have now 82 of them and it's super big, that you just start getting more and more and more resentful, which means you don't feel good. You treat people like it's big on like, oh, I can't be mean. I don't want to do this. Well, but then you're mean because it comes out sideways. And ultimately you lose yourself. If you start, I cannot tell you how many women who come out of divorces where, you know, this was part of what they had done. And they're like, I don't know anything about myself anymore.
Yeah, I've heard that so many times. I don't even know who I am anymore. And they'll say, you know, my friends are like, God, what happened to you? You're like not the same person. Yeah. Oh, I think that's like almost the biggest travesty, is that you lost yourself on your journey to be liked by everybody else, or on your journey to like keep everything calm. That's a hell of a cost.
Let's not forget about all the symptoms that women then have to deal with: depression, anxiety, and so many other somatic experience that they have that are directly related to how much they squash, you know, all the stomach issues they have, all the chronic fatigue, migraines. I mean, there's a host of physical symptoms that come from not having your voice and not feeling empowered in your relationships and in your life. I don't think
the biggest one.
that.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I finished.
I didn't say the biggest one is cancer. I've had women come into my office. I've had them come into my office in front of her husband and say, I know this marriage is what contributed to this cancer because I have walked on eggshells for 10, 20 years and I'm not doing that anymore. So the costs are huge.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes that. I had a client, I mean, it happened to have been a male client, but it took his being near death really to wake up and say, I'm not taking it anymore.
Yeah.
He was very much the conflict avoidant and swallow. And now he's like, I'm going to be dead if I continue on this path.
Yeah. And it's true. It's true.
It's true.
You know, I've had, yeah, it's really, it doesn't serve women, it doesn't serve men. And there are plenty of men who are conflict avoidant, like you said.
Just as men.
But the idea that I'll be better off if I just don't make waves, in my experience, you create bigger waves down the line. It just puts it off, right? And Dee, I love your analogy, like this little problem becomes 80,000 little problems that become so big that by the time you're addressing them, it's, you know, the damage has been so tremendous, right? One of the other costs is you are showing your children. I had a client the other day, and her daughter, she's like, my daughter said, how come you don't say anything to dad when he talks to you like that? And she's like, well, I do, I just do it later. And I'm like, oh no, no, like you need to do it right then, right? Because you're modeling for your children. You're modeling, oh, it's okay for mom or dad to speak to me like that. Or, you know, or that child becomes the, you know, the parent who's going to talk down to their spouse when they grow up. And it just, it hurts you. It hurts your family, it hurts your children, and it's damaging.
Well, I'm glad you brought up that point, because I think that a lot of women have gotten that into their heads that you have to show a united front. So they will not speak up in front of their kids. And I'm 100% in agreement with you. It's like, what are you teaching your kids?
Right.
You get abused and you keep quiet and you take it.
Yeah.
It's in conflict with what they've been taught as good parenting model.
Right.
That you support your husband, even if he's being really inappropriate and abusive.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about what do they do? So if somebody's conflict avoidant, where do you start? And how do you step in with this grounded, powerful strength around, gosh, anything from the smallest things to girlfriends, right? Young, you know, 20-year-olds who have friends and they're mad at them, but they're not having that conversation with them because, well, she's just going to get mad back and it's fine. And then they go and they talk to their other friends about it, right? Grown women do the same thing. You know, I'm upset over here and I'm going to go talk to my friends there and I'm going to vent. So where do they start? Where do they start? What are a couple of tips?
I think the first thing they have to dispel is the notion that it's better to keep quiet. It is not better to keep quiet. At least not universally. I think there may be sometimes when it's better, you use your judgment and it's a strategy to keep quiet now and deal with it, but not as a given. It can't be a given that it's better and healthier and safer for everybody to be quiet. I'd start with.
In the moment you got to come back, right? So love that. One is that is a limiting belief. It's very much a limiting belief that's holding you down, that's going to hurt you. If you think, you know, calm is best and don't make waves and just, you know, let things play out. That is harmful to you and your children and to your relationships, by the way. Okay, so one, recognize that that's a story you're telling yourself that's actually harming yourself.
Yes.
What's another one?
Well, I think that idea that we've talked about, like I hear from so many women, well, that, you know, well, that was just this one thing. It's not that important. And so I think it's really checking in and going, wait a minute, what is the importance of this?
Yeah.
Rather than, oh, I'm going to let that go because it's not important. It's not important. It's
Right.
kind of like beginning to look at the importance.
Right.
For
And-
yourself. So not to think that you're doing it so that your partner will change.
Absolutely.
The main thing is what it's going to do for you to not be squashing yourself and to be having a voice.
And when you hear that voice saying it's not important, pause, slow down and think, wait, is that true right now? Like, let me not just do my knee jerk of that's not important, because you're going to say that to everything. If you're conflict avoidant, that's going to be the thing you're going to say. So slow down and check it out. Wait, is that true that it's really not important? Like, you know, if it's, you know, how they're loading the dishwasher, yeah, not important, right? But if it's how they're speaking to you, no, that's important. That's important. And so slow that knee jerk move to just silence or walk on eggshells or not have conflict. The other thing
one more thing about that. It's important no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter if, let's say, he had a bad day.
Yes.
It's not important.
Yes.
It's not important why. It's important that you say, you know what, no matter what, it is not okay for you to behave in this way.
Right.
And for you to really hold that deeply inside, like, this is how you are going to protect yourself.
That's so important. Is it okay or is it not okay? It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter what set it up. It doesn't matter what they're feeling, what they're thinking. It just is. It's either okay or it's not okay. If it's not okay,
you have to know it's not okay. You have to get that. Somehow you have to get that it is not okay to be demeaned, to be spoken to in an abusive way, to be continually criticized and judged, to all of those things. Not okay. Not okay. No matter what, not okay.
Not okay on Monday, not okay on Tuesday, not okay at night, not okay when he or she is tired.
Not okay in front of the kids, not okay because we have company over.
Yes. Right. And that's so important, because I love, that's a really important thing. I have heard so many people, like, they don't want to stand up in front, like, their partner or somebody will talk down to them in front of a table full of people. And they're like, well, I didn't want to make it uncomfortable for everybody else. I'm like, oh, no. If it happens in public, it's your business. And you need to show, like, again, it's like, wait, what you let go here grows bigger and bigger everywhere. So if you don't want that behavior to get bigger and more common and happening more often, you don't let it go. And again, is it okay or is it not okay? It doesn't matter if people are there or they're not there. Whether is it okay in front of people or behind people? No. So that's huge. That's a big one. The other thing I was going to say is, if you're starting this, what I would say is start to speak up with the safest people on the safest issues. Grow those muscles. With if it's a partner or a child or a friend who's talking down to you, just start with at least saying ouch. Like, wow, that was harsh. Just something to where you start to, like, no longer pretend it didn't happen.
Right.
Like, put the spotlight on it. And you can start doing that very small with safer people. Like, let's say your friend says something that's kind of a dig, but you love that friend and she loves you and it's no big deal except that it stung. Then you're going to say, ow, that stung. She's the safest one you can say. And she's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. You're right. I should have watched it. But start building those muscles and start telling yourself, I matter. I'm deserving of being treated well. And I'm not asking anything more of others than I'm going to give them. And I am expecting that they're going to do the same. So that's another place I would say. All right. Anything else on women, speaking up?
Do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Do it.
Do it. And you're going to do it, you're going to not do it gracefully at first. It does not matter. You just, at first, do it. The goal is grounded, powerful strength, where you're not becoming abusive back. And it's going to be a journey for you to get there. And you have to love yourself enough and hold yourself in warm regard enough to start it and just do it.
The women that have actually started to do it, they start to notice that they feel better. Regardless of the partner's response, they start to feel better. And that grows, and they start to feel stronger, and they start to take themselves more seriously, and they grow and they evolve, and they become stronger women.
Yeah.
Start.
And what I would say in my practice, what I see is, and the respect of their partners grows as well. Like, at first they're annoyed and they're testing them and they're pushing, the partner's like, why are you saying that to me? Like, you're too sensitive, blah, blah, blah. But when the women really stay in and stand their ground, now their partners their respect for them grows higher and higher and higher.
Absolutely.
And yeah. So, okay. What's our challenge? Challenge for women.
Start noticing every time you have that feeling in your gut and you squash it.
Mhm.
And see if you can begin to just say something.
Love it. Notice it, recognize it, and in some way hold up the mirror.
Even if it's just, ouch, that hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one of the things along with it, I might say is a conflict just means I think differently than you.
Yeah.
This isn't like this big
Good
blow up.
point.
And so, to say that wasn't okay with me. Like that just, again, ouch. So even the smallest thing, probably short is better. Just get started. Move over that hump of I can't.
I love that. Just get started. Just get started. Put it out there. Okay. And challenge for men.
Get ready for change.
I think men have the same issue. I really do. I see men in their relationships as being terrified to confront their partners, their wives. So I think they need to do the same thing. They need to start to be aware and begin to speak up.
Yeah. Again, same thing. Like, wow, that was harsh, or even just, wow, just, something.
Anything, a sound,
Yeah.
make a sound. Don't just shut down and go away. That's the
Right.
worst.
Because it gives the other person a moment to see themselves, and it tells you like that you're worthy to note it, right? Until you get strong enough to actually start, setting a limit and doing that. But this is the first start, and this is a hard start for many women and men who are conflict avoidant. Okay, so everybody, if you struggle with finding your voice, you struggle with setting limits, you have this crazy notion, yes, I'm calling it a crazy notion, that it's better to just avoid things and keep things calm. Let's start challenging that, because that's harming you. You're going to lose yourself in that. And that's the work. So like always, if you like this podcast, please share it. If you have questions, write us a question. We'll be happy to answer it. And we wish you luck. All right. Till next time, get stronger. Just start it.
Just start it.
Let's start it.
Thank you again for joining us this week. And always remember, you have the power to change the world for women by changing how you walk in it. I challenge you to choose one way to stand in your grounded, powerful strength this week and be part of the ripple of change.